Hello everyone and welcome to this Week in Stupid for the 3rd of January 2020. I would like to say that I have been deeply touched and moved over the fact that you chose to watch this segment rather than Cobra Kai Season 3. But after this segment is finished, go watch it because it's a good show. I fully recommend. Now, let's talk a little bit about commercials. What separates a good commercial from a great commercial? Well, a good commercial makes you want to buy the product. A great commercial makes you realize that you need the product. So with that in mind, tell me if you think the following commercial from Alaska Airlines is good or if it is great.
Safety dance. We can fly where you want to. We can leave your house behind. But if your friends don't mask, and why don't they mask? Well, they won't fly this airline.
You can fly if you want to, cause we do safety right. We have air that's clean and disinfectant machines zapping germs like an arcade space fight. And we dance
Do the dance, do the dance.
Everybody wash some hands.
Do the dance, do the dance. We're always wearing a mask. Do the dance, do the dance.
No, seriously, please wash your hands.
Do the dance, do the dance.
HEPA filters cleaning commence.
Alaska Safety Dance. Alaska Safety Dance. Alaska Safety Dance.
Now, there's a lot of things that I can say about this. However, the comments have disabilities. And not only do the comments have disabilities, but I can't even like this. Because they turned off like and dislike. Basically, this is a commercial that is so good that it needs no further comments. My favorite part was the adult music in the beginning. And how hip and cool they are by mentioning the arcades. And it's almost like playing a video game when you go onto their plane. They're fighting the virus. My God, that is so progressive. And speaking of progressive, it seems that another statue of Abraham Lincoln, codename the Emancipator, the United States 16th president, has been defaced. Again. The first grade teacher, Jeremiah Jeffries, who sits on the committee, was quoted as saying, Lincoln, like the presidents before him, and most after, did not show through policy or rhetoric that black lives ever mattered to them outside of human capital and as casualties of wealth building. In other words, Lincoln had it coming. Why did he not read the Communist Manifesto? Why? Because Karl Marx was a racist, but you don't see his statue getting defaced. Engels was a racist, but you don't see his statue getting defaced, now do you? Like, if you want to be a racist, then read the Communist Manifesto, promote the ideology, and everyone just looks the other way. Why didn't Lincoln do this? Someone needs to invent a time machine right now and bring the Communist Manifesto to Abraham Lincoln before he gets assassinated. And then his statues would be left alone. Now, if you can't do this, here's plan B. Just disguise the Abraham Lincoln statues in order to make them look like Karl Marx. And then people will look the other way. Because until then, more and more statues of Honest Abe will be found problematic. For example, Boston takes down Lincoln Emancipation Memorial Statue. Yeah, that's right. It's the one where he freed the slaves. And he managed to take away from the revolutionary spirit of the communists. Because the communists were the ones supposed to free the slaves, not Republicans. So, this statue is now problematic. Because, you see, the black man kneels in front of Lincoln. However, if you know the context behind the statue, it basically has the black man kneeling and Lincoln is saying, do not kneel to me, only kneel in front of God. However, context doesn't matter. We're progressives now. We progress past the context. And we also do not care about history. Because you see, this statue was actually commissioned and paid by the freed slaves. Yes, they pitched money together and they made this statue possible, which is now being taken down by progressive people. Because we have progressed past that backwards mentality that people had back then. And now we're a lot more forward thinking. Hopefully, it can be replaced by a statue symbolizing the wet ass pussy. A video that YouTube has said has been very powerful and very strong in modern culture. So instead of Honest Abe, we can have something more progressive. Because in 2021, we need more progressivism in our life in order to convince people to stop teaching the white man's science, decolonize STEM. Now, I was under the impression that science is universal because it doesn't care about race. It's just the idea of having a hypothesis and then doing an experiment, arriving to a conclusion, and if that can be reproduced by other people, then it fits the scientific theory and it is science. I don't understand where race fits into this, but we're progressive now. So somehow this universal process has been racialized according to the students at Bryn Mawr College. For you see, a student mob took over Bryn Mawr and the college said, thank you. Last week marked the end of a chaotic semester at Bryn Mawr College, a small women's liberal arts college located outside Philadelphia. During the final weeks, Bryn Mawr students, including my own child, scrambled to pick up the pieces following a student strike that exacerbated the serious pre-existing disruptions associated with the pandemic. For a period of 3 weeks, few regular classes were held, activities were suspended, and student life, such as it was, became marked by the same toxic spirit of racism that the strikers claim to oppose. The spirit of racism is now, is it like the Holy Spirit but evil? Like it comes from Satan, that the spirit of racism. That's man, I don't know much about that. You know, I'm not an expert on racism. So I'll let the intellectuals and the students deal with it. But I do happen to know a little bit about the disruption the pandemic has caused within the school system. You see, a lot of teachers have unionized and they refuse to go to work until they can feel safe. So, of course, they want to be paid, but they don't want to go to school. You know, it's an understandable situation where you don't want to work, but you want to get paid. I mean, I can empathize with that. Everyone wants that. And you see here the Chicago Teachers Union, which rallied the teachers to refuse to go back to the classroom because they need to stay safe, posting on Instagram her pictures from her vacation in Puerto Rico. So, is the virus only in the schools now? I know what she outrun the virus. She fled the virus. It's like when immigrants are coming to Europe and they're fleeing poverty, this lady fled the virus. Now she feels safe. Now she feels safe in Puerto Rico. On the beaches of Puerto Rico, surrounded by tourists, all of a sudden she feels safe. In a classroom surrounded by students, she feels in danger. Now that is some progressive thinking right there. You know what I think? Because a lot of people are mocking this. Here's what I think. I think that teachers love traveling. And they can't help it. They have to travel. They have to go to Puerto Rico and enjoy the nice weather and sunny beaches there. And while traveling, they don't use Alaska Airlines. So they do not have the same safety precautions that Alaska Airlines provides to its customers. So the teachers are like biological weapons. They're biohazards. They get infected from their travels, and then when they go to the classroom, they spread the disease. They spread the pestilence. They're like demonic entities from Papa Nurgle. And that's why they're advocating to stay at home. Because they cannot risk it. They cannot risk transmitting the illness from their travels to the students. See? Did I not spin it in a positive light? Why does no one hire me as a PR person? Because I could explain any controversy. I can explain away any problems that anyone is facing. So yes, this lady is being unjustly persecuted by the mainstream media. She is actually a very responsible woman. She knows that she has been traveling, so how can you expect her to go to school?
So obviously the premise of this comic is ludicrous. If you're taking a look at the actual amount of violence committed, white nationalism does far more harm to the world than Antifa ever could, and we've yet to have an Antifa shooting. Antifa has yet to kill a single person. Oh, now they're killing people? Oh yeah, where in the description? Oh god. Don't worry about it. Dayton shooter. Anyway, this is a
Man, I'm good in PR, but I don't think I can spin that one. Holy crap. This is why the Young Turks do not take questions when they speak at public debates. They make people write them on a piece of paper and they hand them off to the moderator. And then Cenk and Anna reads them before answering so they can select which of the questions are deserving of answering and which ones aren't. So I suggest a similar system to Vosh. Now, let's look at something else that's a big yikes from me. Now, this is not just a random individual. This is the senior politics reporter. That's what I want you to understand. It's not the politics report. It's the senior politics report. And listen to this statement. No, seriously, like, just stop what you're doing, all right? Just stop what you're doing and pay a little bit of an attention, because this is going to be big. Okay, this is bigly. Also, it's not true that millions of Americans have been vaccinated, which Pence surely knows. So the first statement is that it's not millions of Americans that have been vaccinated. Okay, so how many Americans have been vaccinated? Roughly 2.1 million people have been vaccinated so far per CDC. Okay, 1 million, 2 millions, but it's not billions. Oh my god, this is the level of that picture, you know, that says mostly peaceful. But at least like that picture said mostly peaceful, like overall it was peaceful, but just that image is the one that's not peaceful, okay? So I could just somehow make it fit within the narrative, but like this is a little bit difficult even for me. Like if you say it's not millions of Americans, it's like, okay, how many were there? 2 millions. It's very difficult for me to try and save face for this guy. Man, 2021 is becoming PR hard mode. The people at the PR department from Huffington Post must be sweating bullets right now. Can you imagine if this guy was counting votes? Like, if this guy was in charge of counting votes, you'd probably have Trump reelected. Luckily, we had people that actually know how to count in the polling stations, right? This must be why journalists don't like it when you tell them to learn how to code. Ah, finally, the mystery has been unraveled. How can you code if you can't do math? And there's no wonder. I mean, look here. Nevada student sues high school for coercive ideological indoctrination of woke curriculum. Man, why not suing for the fact that it doesn't teach math to journalists? That's the problem. It's the wrong lawsuit. You need to put priorities in order. But anyway, students were told that refusing to identify with an oppressed group was a sign of privilege and an indication of being an oppressor, according to the lawsuit. Well, that's based on blue pill now, isn't? A high school senior in Nevada is suing his charter school over what he calls the coercive ideological indoctrination imposed by the school's critical race theory-based curriculum. See, I told you it's based. The student who is mixed race... Oh, so it's like half oppressed. How does that work? What if you're like a quarter? Huh? Like, what if you have the most diverse family ever? Like, your grandmother, let's say she's Indian American. Your father, your grandfather is black. And then your father married a French woman. Like how much of an oppressor are you? But is this like what they do at math? This is why the people from Huffington Post can't count, because they know how to do more cerebral mathematical equations. But anyway, so the student who is mixed race contends to the curriculum forces students at the taxpayer-funded school to connect elements of their identities with oppression. Well, of course. I mean, why do you have an identity if not to connect it with oppression? The lawsuit, which was filed last week in Nevada federal court, claims that the student, as well as his mother's, First and 14th Amendment rights were violated when students were told that refusing to identify with an oppressed group was a sign of privilege and in education with being an oppressor. The student's mother, Gabrielle Clark, who is black, claims her son was subjected to a hostile classroom environment at Democracy Prep. She alleges that her child faced discrimination during the school's year-long mandatory course, Sociology of Change. See, this is what schools need to teach. Important things that get you on a path to finding a job in life. This is going to help the kid land a nice position at a company. Sociology of Change, okay? Like, who cares about math, history, geography? How to pay your taxes, how to start a business, how to write a resume. This is horseshit. You know, you need to teach students the sociology of change, the important stuff.
Education. Distract them from learning something which is constructive, pragmatic, efficient. Instead of mathematics, physics, foreign languages, chemistry, teach them history of urban warfare, natural food, home economy.
Wait, why do I have Russian conspiracy theories invading my channel? Get out of here. Get out of here with the nonsense. No, schools are to teach students what to think. And what can be more important than teaching them that identity is tied to oppression. You are just born wrong, okay? You're born an oppressor. Your parents fucked wrong. That is what you need to understand. And therefore, there are consequences. Like, you can't just go through life denying these things. You are born in a box. You need to acknowledge the box, and you need to acknowledge your responsibility of checking your privilege. Okay, let's talk about less important things now. See, this is what it should be taught at school. What is cupiosexuality? Do you know this? Ask your grandmother. She won't know. Do you know why she won't know? Because she's a bigot. Your grandma's a bigot. It's the term for asexual people who still want sex. So they're asexual because they don't want sex, but they do want... Do you understand this? No? Back to school. Back to school. Now, I went to school. And do you know what I learned? I learned that people do not know how to spend their money. They're being selfish. This whole thing where you get to decide what to do with your own wage. It's so reactionary. It's so anti-progressive. Now, in a forward-thinking society, in a postmodernist world, we allow institution to think how to spend the money for us. One such institution is the government, which requires a lot of taxes. A lot of taxes. So you go to work, you spend 10, 11 hours of your day to work hard, and then a big chunk of that income goes to the government, which knows how to spend that money much better than you ever will. Now, in the United States, the government, through its infinite kindness, empathy, and compassion, decided to help people remain healthy by destroying their businesses. In other words, by having shutdown orders and preventing people from going to work, they have kept people safe and healthy during a pandemic. And a lot of ungrateful people were upset about this. They started moaning and complaining. It's like, well, how are we supposed to put food on the table? To which, again, the government, in its infinite empathy and compassion, has said, all right, we're going to give you $600. How can you not be grateful for that? How can you not have tears in your eyes when you look at the compassion and empathy that the government has? They know how to spend money properly. Now, they can't give you more than $600. That is the limit, okay? Because they have to fund other more important projects than giving money to their own citizens. No, the government is good at taking money from their own citizens. Giving, nah. That is reactionary. So what are the other projects? Well, for example, gender studies in Pakistan is what many people bring up. Like $10 million US going to gender studies in Pakistan. But I have another project which is a lot better. Now, this one is also in the COVID relief bill. And it's $6.9 million to develop a smart toilet which identifies your anal print. Is this not something that the world desperately needs right now? I mean, it's an invention that the world needs, period. Okay, like this will further humanity. This will bring humankind into a new age of smart toilets. It's going to be glorious. But we can't wait. We need to have it right now. Like right now, this is important. It's pivotal that the government gives $7 million to people to develop the smart. I am so glad that smart people like the lawmakers in the government get to make these decisions. I would have never thought for myself, you know what we need right now? Smart toilets that can be connected to the internet. No, I would have never thought. This is why I'm not in the government. Okay, I'm not having the mental capabilities of being such a forward-thinking person. I mean, look at this bad boy. Each user of the toilet is identified through their fingerprint and the distinctive features of their anus. And the data is securely stored and analyzed in an encrypted cloud server. Cloud server, motherfucker. You don't even own the information. Okay, someone else owns it. The toilet operates with artificial intelligence. There is a smart man inside that toilet. Includes 3 cameras, a video camera, a feature, a urinalysis strip, and the toilet AI collects the health data and then stores it in a digital cloud system so that someone else can know about your health. Isn't this amazing? My God. $7 million right now. Right now. It's what matters. Right now is the stimulus needed to bring that economy back up.
So I've seen a lot of comments about the mortality rate for COVID-19. More specifically, people like to focus on the survival rate. Let me ask you a question. Let's just say I gave you a ton of Skittles. Like a lot. We're talking millions of Skittles. And then I told you that 17,391,270 Skittles could make you sick and leave you with long-term effects. And then I said, there's only 312,636 Skittles in there that will kill you. Would you still eat any of the Skittles? Would you give the Skittles to your kids? Would you give the Skittles to your loved ones?
Take that, you bigot. I bet you never thought about it that way, see? That's why she's a smart person, unlike you. There's a lot of bigots on the internet right now. And they're basically saying that, oh, we need to go to work. How are we going to feed the family? Meh, meh, meh. Don't eat the Skittles, you bigot. Damn it. Why are people so selfish? Wanting to go to work and providing for the fam. Why do you do that? Stop it. Sit at home. watch my videos, click like and subscribe. Most importantly, super chat me. That's how you get to keep healthy and safe during these difficult times. Eating the Skittles. I watched Tim Pool, by the way. No, I watched Tim Pool talking about this case. Do you know what that bigot said? He said that, Skittles aren't necessary for life. Like, if you take a person and he's in the desert and he's dehydrated and he's dying of thirst, if he finds a puddle of water and it's muddy water, he knows it can make him sick, he's going to drink it. He's going to risk it and drink it. And this is why Tim Pool is a bigot. He doesn't think like normal people. Okay, normal people would understand that the government would not let you die from thirst. That if you're in that situation, you do not eat the Skittle. Instead, you wait for the government to give you $600. And then you're fine, okay? Everything is fine. Just like stop worrying about it. Honestly, why are people panicking about this? Why can't they just follow government instructions? Stay at home, don't go to work, and then wait for the government to take care of you. Eventually, they're going to get around. They're not going... Like, I mean, if the government is so compassionate... This is what I don't understand, okay? Someone needs to help me understand. If the government is so compassionate to care about your health and well-being, and tells you to stay at home for your own good, why would it not care when you can't put food on the table? Of course they're going to care. Like right now, I'm pretty sure if you're asking Nancy Pelosi, she cares about you. If you're asking Mitch McConnell, he cares about you.